All right, Sheriff, let's go ahead and get started.
All rise. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. This Washington County Board of County Commissioners now in session pursuant to adjournment. Honorable Chairman Greg Mather presiding. Remain standing and come to order.
Thank you, Sheriff. The first order of business this evening is our prayer and pledge. Our prayer will be led by Commissioner Williams, and our pledge will be by Commissioner Ford.
Our Father, we genuinely thank you that we've had a good year in 2019. And as we close it, keep us being servants unto our Washington County constituents. We ask that you bless this holiday season where we celebrate Jesus Christ's birthday, and we give us all good health and peace in our hearts. In your name, amen.
Let's honor America.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, if you'll go ahead and indicate on your roll call screen this evening your presence here. All right, we do have a quorum. We have 13 present, 2 absent. Have a quorum. All right, our next item is approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda? Motion made by Commissioner Lott, seconded by Commissioner Davenport to approve the agenda. Discussion or questions? Questions been called. All in favor of approving the agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. The motion passes and the agenda is approved. We have no public comment items this evening. We have no planning commission rezoning. We do have the minutes of the December 3rd Regional Planning Commission in your packet. We do have the Board of Commissioner minutes that you should have received for the November 25th meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion made by Commissioner Carriger, seconded by Commissioner Light to approve or receive those minutes. Discussion or questions about those? Questions been called. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. The minutes are received. We have several reports this evening. Mayor Grandy, do you have a report?
Yes, sir. Not particularly, Mr. Chairman, but thank you. Just as a note, the audit for Washington County has been officially released on the state website, on our website, and you should have received an email with the link. We'll have a little bit more information on it again.
Merry Christmas. Thank you, Mayor. Next item is the County Attorney's Report. Ms. Wilkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't really have a report for you, but in keeping with my annual tradition of what I call a gratitude tour between Thanksgiving and New Year's Day, I did want to express, kind of looking back and some conversations I've had with you, that you all do your work so differently, and what a privilege it has been to learn to do things differently through each of you. And one conversation was that this legislative body only speaks when it comes together. So I started thinking about that and looking back at the year and thinking, what has this legislative body said and what would that voice look like? So I thought, and this is just back of the napkin statistics, but you have had 2,029 packet pages in calendar year 2019. Averaging 169 pages per month and 17 resolutions per month. So that's 12 full commission meetings with, in addition to a number of proclamation reading, public commenting, and county official reporting, uncounted motions introducing and seconding the consideration of and calling the question on 202 fund investigating, budget amending, county road adding, school project developing, board appointing, planning commission and zoning, grant requesting, live stream initiating, pilot seeking, TIF relating, fire hydrant purchasing, emergency management funding, workforce development developing, minimum wage recommending, interlocal agreement supporting, forensic center ratifying, property cleaning, tax rate determining, tax levy fixing, appropriation making, budget adopting, resolution. Whereas, I wish you all the spirit of the season, peace, and happy new year.
Oh, Commissioner Harris?
It'll be the proper time, but over the past week, I meant to call the county attorney, but I've had several people ask me, I think when they've seen several of our neighboring counties have passed this Second Amendment resolution. If that is something that we would look at, where would the proper place for that to start be?
I would suggest that could be something under public safety. I think I've seen several counties in Virginia look at that. I saw Greene County at one point, our neighboring county here in Tennessee. I'd be happy to look at those resolutions and see what committee took the action there. But, and I would defer to the chairman of public safety, but just thinking of the wording, would you like me to maybe reach out to you this week with
Good,
email?
I'd appreciate
I'll investigate that and get
Something
back to you.
I'm interested in. I've had several constituents call me that are in favor of it. I'm in favor of it myself, so I would appreciate any information you could give me on that.
Then I'll get back to you
Take a look
this
at
week.
that and actually have a sample resolution prepared, so that we would be in a position to do that as part of the board.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Right. Any further questions for our county attorney? All right. Seeing none, our next report is Director of the Health Department, Director Minnick. I don't see her here this evening. Next is our Director of Schools, Dr. Fleming.
Board of Education each spring schedules a meeting at each of the various schools during the school day, and as many of you have participated in those, you are once again this year our welcome guests. And I've got a schedule here, if I may be allowed to distribute same.
Absolutely.
You don't need reservations, just show up. If you want to ride the van all day with us, come to the central office, I'll do the driving and I'll get you back. And beyond that, Mr. Chairman, I wish to each of you a Christ-filled Christmas. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, Dr. Flannery. I have ridden with Dr. Flannery before in that van. That's all I'll say about that. I said, I have ridden with you in that van, Dr. Flannery. That's all I'm going to say about that. No, Dr. Flannery does a good job driving that van. All right, next item, seeing no questions for Dr. Flannery, is the Employee Compensation and Benefits Committee, Commissioner McAllister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did not have a meeting in December. We did have one back in our November meeting, where one of the things we discussed was a resolution modifying our wellness plan for our employees, because our community has previous county commission is really stressed wellness. And so we wanted to continue our wellness plan. In the resolution, you'll see three things that we addressed on that. The complete biometrics exam at the employee health clinic, that stays the same. A follow-up with the provider at the employee health clinic stays, that's what we're doing right now. Complete 2 coaching sessions with a peer here, coached by phone. That is up from, used to be 1, now it's up to 2. Again, interested in wellness, wellness is part of that. This is not costing us anything additional, because care here is already part of the contract, care here that we have, so it will not cost us any additional for additional phone call. Care here will not charge us anything additional. We bring that to you in the form of a motion.
Motion made by Commissioner McAllister to approve the resolution, seconded by Commissioner Light. Discussion? Question's been called. Madam Clerk, if you'll switch us to the voting screen. Go ahead and cast your vote, lock it in. Madam Clerk, if you'll announce the vote. 13 yes, 2 absent, resolution passes.
And that, was there any further questions, Mr. Chairman? That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next item is the Public Safety Report, it's back up to the Health, Education, and Welfare Committee report. Commissioner Edens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Health Education and Welfare Committee minutes are on page 8. Happy to answer any questions or concerns that you may have. We have one resolution to bring before you tonight. It's resolution number 19-1209. This is referencing the contribution to the Boone Lake Association. Its purpose is to buy catamaran all-purpose or multi-purpose workboat. The funding will be split between Washington County and the City of Johnson City in the amount of $62,500 each. And the request comes from the committee as the source of funding be the appropriation amounts that we received from the Tennessee Valley Authority. Come from that fund instead of the general fund, is the way it came through committee. We also have some members here that we invited from the committee to come to the commission meeting tonight if they wanted to. If they could be allowed to speak, I would appreciate that, to give some better understanding to the other commissioners here tonight. And I bring that to you in form of a motion, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. Motion made by Commissioner Edens, seconded by Commissioner Carriger to approve the resolution. Was there any questions for our guest? Okay. Mr. Cosmere, if you want to come up front, or Mr. McKee, either one.
I'm Val Cosmitter. I'm the president currently of the Boone Lake Association.
I just have one question.
Sir.
I'm familiar with where the money's coming from, but I just have one question. Will this vehicle be used in Sullivan County or be used in our county?
Primarily in Washington County. The intention is to use this machine exclusively on the Watauga side, which is the boundary waters of Washington County. We're going to make a similar presentation to Sullivan County, Kingsport, and Bristol, and hope with the same result. But for now, this boat, it belongs to Boone Lake Association for use on Washington County side of the lake.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you all.
Thank you, Val.
Sir.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Call the question.
Question's been called. Madam Clerk, if you'll switch us to the voting screen. We'll go ahead and cast your vote and lock it in. Madam Clerk, if you'll announce the vote. 13 yes, 2 absent, resolution passes. Anything else, Commissioner Edens?
we heard from the Library Association about approval of funding, and that's going to come to you.
All right. Thank you. All right, the next item is the Public Safety Committee report. Commissioner Wheeler?
You'll find our minutes on page 27 of your packet. We have several resolutions before you tonight. The first is Resolution 19-1206, resolution amending fiscal year budget 2019-2020 regarding the Sheriff's Department uninterruptible power supply at the detention center, found on page 32 of your packet. This comes in the form of a motion from the committee.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, seconded by Commissioner Ford to approve the resolution. Discussion?
Call for question.
Question's been called. Madam Clerk, if you'll switch us to the voting screen. Go ahead and cast your vote and lock it in. Madam Clerk, if you'll announce the vote. 13 yes, 2 absent, resolution passes. Commissioner Wheeler?
Our next resolution was originally on page 35 of your packet, but has been substituted by a resolution that was on your desk this evening. This is resolution number 19-1207, a resolution amending fiscal year budget 2019-2020 regarding Sheriff's Department to purchase fingerprint machines and workstations. This comes in the form of a motion from the committee.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, seconded by Commissioner Fitzgerald to approve the resolution. Discussion? Question's been called. Madam Clerk, if you'll switch us to the voting screen. Go ahead and cast your vote and lock it in. Madam Clerk, if you'll announce the vote, 13 yes, 2 absent, resolution passes. Commissioner Wheeler?
Our next resolution is found on page 38 of your packet, resolution number 19-1208, a resolution authorizing the disposition of Sheriff's Department's surplus and seized property on gov deals. This comes in the form of a motion from the committee.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, seconded by Commissioner Ford to approve the resolution. Discussion?
Call for the question.
Question's been called. Madam Clerk, if you'll switch us to the voting screen. Go ahead and cast your vote and lock it in. Madam Clerk, if you'll announce the vote when Commissioner Fitzgerald finishes voting. I'm sorry, Commissioner, I didn't know you were not done. 13 yes, 2 absent. Resolution passes. Commissioner Wheeler?
Our final resolution this evening is found on page 40 of your packet, resolution number 19-1210, resolution amending fiscal year budget 2019-2020 regarding fire prevention and control, dealing with the purchase and installation of 3 fire hydrants. This comes in the form of a motion from the committee.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, seconded by Commissioner Lott to approve the resolution. Discussion? Commissioner Harris?
I'll say, I appreciate that in our area. We recently had 3 hydrants put in, and I just want to thank the Jonesboro Water Department for doing such a good job. I tell you, they're run by a fine man who appears to get ready to retire. It's going to be big shoes to fill, but they've done an excellent job in our area putting 3 in, and these fire hydrants are so needed in the county, so I appreciate the commission to continue to push for fire service in these rural areas that don't have anything. So, thank you a lot.
Those hydrants are so important.
Yes.
Sure are. Any further questions or comments? Question's been called. Madam Clerk, switch us to the voting screen. Go ahead and cast your vote and lock it in. Madam Clerk, if you'll announce the vote, 13 yes, 2 absent, resolution passes. Commissioner Wheeler, anything else?
No, sir.
All right. All right, our next item is the Rules Committee. Commissioner Tester is not here this evening, so
Commissioner Tester asked me to give the report, which was
thank
very
you,
brief.
Commissioner Wheeler.
As we just, you'll see our minutes on page 42 of the packet, and they speak for themselves. He apologized for not being able to be here. He's out of town this evening.
All right, thank you again. All right, Commissioner Wheeler, you're back up for the Budget Committee report now, so.
You'll see our minutes on page 46 of your packet. We have 4 resolutions for your consideration this evening. The first one's on page 53 of the packet, resolution number 19-1201, a resolution amending fiscal year budget 2019-2020 regarding the county clerk, upgrades from Windows 7 to Windows 10 on 10 computers. That comes in the form of a motion from the committee.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, seconded by Commissioner Lott to approve the resolution. Discussion? Question's been called. Madam Clerk, if you'll switch us to the voting screen. Go ahead and cast your vote and lock it in. Madam Clerk, if you'll announce the vote, 13 yes, 2 absent, resolution passes. Commissioner Wheeler?
Our next resolution is found on page 56 of your packet, resolution number 19-1202, resolution amending fiscal year budget 2019-2020 regarding the Highway Department to provide additional appropriation for equipment and vehicle repair and maintenance and to purchase water heater, air conditioner, and ice maker. This comes in the form of a motion from the committee.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, seconded by Commissioner Carriger to approve the resolution. Discussion? Questions? Question's been called. Madam Clerk, switch us to the voting screen. Go ahead and cast your vote and lock it in. Madam Clerk, if you'll announce the vote, 13 yes, 2 absent, resolution passes. Commissioner Wheeler?
Our next resolution is the resolution that Chairman Edens was referring to, found on page 59 of your packet, resolution number 191204, resolution amending fiscal year budget 2019-2020 regarding donation to Washington County Library. This comes in the form of a motion from both committees.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, seconded by Commissioner Lott to approve the resolution. Discussion or questions? Question's been called. Madam Clerk, if you'll switch us to the voting screen, go ahead and cast your vote and lock it in. Madam Clerk, if you announce the vote, 13 yes, 2 absent, resolution passes. Commissioner Wheeler?
Our final resolution this evening is found on page 62 of your packet, resolution number 191205, resolution amending fiscal year budget 2019-2020 regarding the District Attorney General to record the federal special prosecutor grant contract with the City of Johnson City for the remainder of fiscal year 2020. This comes in the form of a motion from the committee.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, seconded by Commissioner Carriger to approve the resolution. Discussion? Question's been called. Madam Clerk? Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Harris. Commissioner Ford was...
Better hurry. Money's coming in through a grant, and we're spending money out. There's no additional expense for the county. Is that the way I read that?
Should just be
That's my
Okay, I didn't make it to the last couple
flow,
of
just
things.
like flow through money.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
All right, is there any other questions or any further discussion? All right, Commissioner Ford, you call the question again?
I do.
Okay. Question's been called. Madam Clerk, you switch us to the voting screen. Go ahead and cast your vote. Lock it in. Madam Clerk, if you'll announce the vote, 13 yes, 2 absent, the resolution passes. Anything else, Commissioner Wheeler?
That's our full report. Thank you.
All right. Next item is Resolution 191211, is a resolution approving the election of notaries public for appointment or reappointment for Washington County, Tennessee. Motion made by Commissioner Ford, seconded by Commissioner Edens to approve the resolution. Discussion or questions? Madam Clerk, if you'll switch us to the voting screen, please. Go ahead and cast your vote and lock it in. Madam Clerk, you'll announce the vote. 13 yes, 2 absent. The resolution passes. Next item under new business, we do have Commissioner Jones that wanted to bring us just an update on our upcoming retreat. So, Commissioner Jones.
I promise I will be super fast. The pressure. So, as you know, we have been working toward 3 objectives from our workshop last year, and I want to just give you a brief update. We skipped the last quarterly update because we were in the middle of working on the Jonesboro School. So, one of our objectives was to come up with a fire and water plan, a 30-year plan, and we've made some good progress on going forward with that. Our mayor has put a group together. I understand Commissioners Fitzgerald, Davenport, and Harris are, among others, outside expertise that are working on looking at the engineering study and trying to come up with some recommendations on the best projects to move forward with on that. Talked with the mayor a little bit more about the fire plan, which is less articulated, although we continue to do things all the time. We just got some hydrants, right? So, but still, we could discuss more in terms of a plan for fire, and I think we have some resources among us that could be good for working toward that. When we meet on January 25th for our next morning workshop, I'd love for a bunch of you to sit down and make sense for the 3 of you that are already working on the water plan to also talk a bit about a fire plan, and maybe we'll add a few others. And I'm raising this now so that you can start thinking about which of these 3 areas might be ones you'll want to sit and think about for a little bit. Just a little extra work time, and then reporting back to all of us so we all kind of know how we're doing and moving forward on these things. Another area we talked about was addressing workforce, and the Hugh Committee has done some work with Lottie Ryans on that. We approved some projects with ETSU. We've also heard presentations on the Work Ready Community Project. I understand there are a few very tangible things we can do on that project. And I also know there are some updates on the TCAT, which is definitely a high priority workforce project. And so at our morning workshop on January 25th, we'll be having updates on that, and a group of us will sit down and talk a little bit about what we can do this year, maybe the next 2 years, to help move those projects forward a bit more. And then lastly, our third objective was improved internal and external communications. And I was really appreciative that Susan Saylor provided me with a few bullet points, things she's done since she's gotten busy. One of those is a lot of work with the press to provide press notes, story ideas, support materials, help our diligent press writers get the details right when they report back on some of our complicated business. She's done some work with reporters, made our jobs easier. She's working on a couple of other things, like social media, updating the website, and I've met with her a little bit to talk about having like a County 101, or maybe we'll call it Leadership Washington County, or maybe we'll call it County Academy. And she's got a really nice rough draft of what that County Academy might look like, and I think we could probably launch it this spring. But I'd really love for a bunch of us to sit down also, a few of us to be at that table to discuss implementation of that project, as well as to give Ms. Saylor some feedback and ideas about how she can interact with us. Do we want to hear reports from her? Do we want emails from her? How can we know more about what she's doing in her work? Because she's really addressing some of our internal and external communication needs. We just need to know how best to interface with her. So that's what I have. January 25th it is. I would love to have breakfast there, so if anybody's interested in bringing something or contributing to breakfast, let me know. And everything's on board, so I'll get you all some directions, and we'll be there. Thank you.
All right, and that was January 25th, right?
Did I say January 25th at all during that presentation? 9 to 12?
9 to 12.
Yep.
Thank you for all your work, Commissioner Jones. We appreciate you doing that and organizing that, and that's
It's good stuff.
it is. All right, we do want to recognize Dr. Barnett being here from the Johnson City Schools, and thank you, Director, being here, and just want to say thank you and Merry Christmas. Well, that completes our agenda for this evening. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Before we adjourn, yes. Oh, I thought the county attorney wanted to speak just another minute. We'll be downstairs this evening having some snacks. Anyone would like to come down and join us, please feel free to do so. And we'll be in the employee break room. So, Commissioner Light, did you have that motion? Okay, Commissioner, motion to adjourn made by Commissioner Light, seconded by Commissioner Ford. To adjourn, all in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign.